Oluwade my side. Over them all. 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 Over them. I dey sit my mattel. I been down with my cartel. Number one, no forget. If you dey vex, make you go kick it bucket. Oh no, I no fit take it. I said to God, they no fit change me. Them go come back for my mess, you. But them won't play me like Messi. Every day call my phone. Every day come my home. They be like slow, but I fly over them like drone. Oh no. If they want Tongo Goliath, I be David for life. Oluwade my side. Over them all. If they want Tongo Goliath, I be David for life.
I know sometimes it be like say nobody send you. I'm here for you, my friend.
Body no vex for me. Say I never call you since, but I hope that you are well.
The ancient city is calling. Oh, arise, sons and daughters of the land. The king of the city is marching. Stand up high to the pride of the land. The founding fathers have labored, and our time to serve is now. The glory of the new Edo nation will forever be our pride. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Our treasures are found in all nations, and our greatness is second to none. Our history forever shall be written, how our kings have endured all times. Our people cultured in unity, our hearts beat for the land. Rich culture, stories of heroes, legacies forever be. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, you're the heartbeat of Nigeria. Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, stars are singing over you. You're the land people dream to be. Unite and stand with each other. Forgive and let it go. Together we can stand, come what may. And the future lies in us. Teach our children to teach their children what our fathers taught.
together for that. This wonderful anthem was bettered by Excellency our First Lady. And you know that if you were to do competition on state anthem, this certainly will be number one. If you believe that, can I get a resounding applause as I invite the chairman, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter, Iye Moya, Evangelist Dr. Mrs. Margaret Augusta Agboifo, to please come up stage to lead us in the opening prayer. One woman that has taken the gospel around the world with a very sonorous voice in praising the Almighty. Ladies and gentlemen, can I please request your excellencies, very distinguished guests, to please be upstanding this time for the opening prayers. The men, please remember your caps.
Shall we pray? Your excellencies, you are welcome to Edo State. Thank you. Father, we give you glory and honor for a beautiful weather. We want to thank you for the beautiful way we are seeing the end of October. We want to thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for the safe arrival of all our excellencies from different states. And we thank you for the visionary, the convener of this program. Father, we thank you for her life, our mother, Miss Betsy Obaseki. Father, we thank you for her life. I want to thank you for the students, the teachers, the government, for everyone who have been supporting this cause. We can thank you enough for what you are doing for us in Edo State. Oh Lord, take all the glory in Jesus' name. Whatever is committed into your hand, oh Lord, is for better future. It goes brighter and brighter and brighter. So we commit today's program into your hand, oh Lord, that the purpose of this vision will not be abolished in Jesus' name. Everyone who has come from far and near, today, oh Lord, they will understand the vision and they will run with it. Above all, Edo will move forward. In the name of Jesus. If there are people who have been abused, who have been going through emotional trauma, after today's seminar, they will recover. They will regain their strength. They will regain their emotion. They will regain their dignity. Lord, heal our land. Bless our nation. Bless our state. Give our leaders wisdom to continue to do the right thing. That when men will be saying it is over with Nigeria, Edo State will be saying there is a lifting. In Jesus' name. Thank you. God bless you. Come, we can be seated. Just give me 2 minutes to do my goodwill message. I want to specially welcome once again all our excellencies and the government officials that are present here today. I'm not a politician. I may not be able, if I want to go into measuring names, I'll be making a lot of mistakes. So please permit me to stand on the, okay, let me be the one to start the protocol now so that when others come, they'll be standing on it. So I really want to welcome Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much for being there for our governor. Thank you so much, Barrister Osaro Dion Ugie. I want to thank our Excellency once again, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, for being there. All those who have come to grace this occasion, most especially our beautiful sons and daughters in the house. Students in the house, put your hands together for yourself. You are wonderful. I want to thank God for the visionary of this wonderful program, Stop Gender-Based Violence. Whoever God has given this vision, their generation will continue to celebrate them in Jesus' name. The Bible says where there is vision, people will not perish. Before the vision of stop child abuse, stop gender based violence, in fact, parents were dying in silence. children were dying in silence. Even the church was being affected. No one can speak out, because if you talk, who do you talk to? Who will understand? But suddenly, voices of women like Betsy Obaseki, other great women, started echoing in radio, on televisions. Stop this violence. Today, I can tell you, even the church, we are at peace. The voice that our excellencies has given to pastors, mothers, fathers to speak out, there is a lot of reduction of child abuse, women abuse, and name it. Before I drop the mic, I want to also thank God for the House of Assembly. Whoever God uses to pass the law against women violence or child abuse, your generation will be blessed in Jesus' name. This generation, you are the most blessed. Before your time, those who were being abused, they were going through hell. But today, you are so lucky. I want to tell my younger ones here, my children, stand on your feet and celebrate all our excellencies, all those that the Lord have used. Put your hands together. Make a joyful noise. Your generation is blessed. Your generation is blessed. No more violence. No more. Thank you. God bless you.
Can I put our hands together for Pastor Dr. Mrs. Margaret Augusta Agbonifo, the Chairman, Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Edo State Chapter. Your Excellencies, my Lord, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered today for the seminar that is part of the program for the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament. This is the third in the series. The first, the second, and the third, our colleagues, former and current first ladies, have always come to show solidarity and support. Again, today, they are here in their numbers. At the first edition, the topic was the girl-child empowerment. At the second edition last year, it was saying no to drug abuse. Today, the seminar for the third edition is Stop Gender-Based Violence. I'd like to acknowledge once again and establish the protocol for today so that all other speakers can adopt before they speak, so we can save some time. Permit me to make welcome in a very special way the First Lady of Osun State, Her Excellency Titilola Adeleke. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please celebrate her? Some present, others airborne, so we will acknowledge all of them. First, with the current, and then we go to the predecessors in various states, the former who made enormous and wonderful contributions to the girl child, to the women, and of course to the men, children in their various states. But it is also important to note that both past and current are all under the umbrella of a great, wonderful board of trustees, where the chair of that board, Her Excellency Relu Bisi Fayemi, the former First Lady of Ekiti State, is the chairman. Can you please celebrate her? She's the chair of the board of trustees, Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum. We also celebrate and appreciate Her Excellency Bamidele Abiodun, the First Lady of Ogun State. Please make welcome Her Excellency Gloria D. Diri, the First Lady of Bayelsa State. Her Excellency Chioma Uzodima, First Lady Imo State. Her Excellency Claudiana Samuelu, First Lady, Lagos State. Her Excellency Uzo Amaka Winfro, First Lady, Ebonyi State. Her Excellency Eyawa B. Otu, First Lady, Cross River State. Her Excellency Noye Soludo, First Lady, Anambra State. Her Excellency Tobere Oborewori, First Lady, Delta State. And visiting former First Ladies that have also shown enormous solidarity with Edo, particularly the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament. And in these 3 editions, majority of them were here. Her Excellency Dame Edith Okowa, former First Lady, Delta State, the Big Heart. Her Excellency Martha Emmanuel, former First Lady, Akwa Ibom State. Her Excellency Mrs. Nkechi Biazu, former First Lady, Abia State. Her Excellency Zainab Bagudu, former First Lady, Kebbi State. Her Excellency Kafayat Oyetola, former First Lady, Osun State. Her Excellency Monica Ugwanyi, former First Lady, Enugu State. Her Excellency Linda Yande, former First Lady, Cross River State. Her Excellency Mario Al Makura, former First Lady, Nasarawa State. Her Excellency Florence Ajimobi, former First Lady, Oyo State. Her Excellency Bolanle Ambode, former First Lady, Lagos State. Her Excellency Sharifat Arigbeshola, former First Lady, Osun State. Her Excellency Olufunsho Amosu, former First Lady, Ogun State. Can we celebrate all of them? And of course, our own, Her Excellency Betsy Obaseki, First Lady, Edo State, initiator of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament. We also like to acknowledge and welcome the speaking speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, the Right Honorable Blessing Sharif Agbebaku and his dear wife. My Lord, the Honorable the Chief Judge of Edo State, the Honorable Justice D.I. Okungbawa, here represented by my Lord, the Honorable Justice Mary Isweli. Secretary to the Government of Edo State, Osarodion Oge Esquire. State Chairman of the PDP, the Right Honorable Dr. Anthony Isaac Bemi. Immediate past Chief Judge of Edo State, my Lord, the Honorable Justice Joe Isebaga Archer. Honorable members of the Edo State House of Assembly and their spouses, honorable members of the Edo State Executive Council, permanent secretaries, heads of government ministry departments and agencies of government, top government functionaries in different folders, the Obaseki family, lions and captains of industries, the chairman of this organizing committee, world-renowned Olympian Yusuf Ali, and members of the organizing committee, service commanders that are serving in Edo State, and indeed our very wonderful children from various schools here in Edo. Can you please celebrate yourselves? It is my singular honor at this point to invite Her Excellency the First Lady of Edo State for our welcome address that will also chronicle the journey so far. Ladies and gentlemen, can the music play as we invite on stage Her Excellency to give a welcome address? Shall we please honor this gentleman? It's love.
I'm the best for the generation. It's almost evening. Good evening, everyone. The day is fast spent, and so I'm not going to go over any protocol or make a long speech. But let me just stand on the well-established protocol made by a very able MC, and from the depth of my heart, thank and appreciate one of you who has come to participate, attend and support us at this program, especially my beloved sisters seated here who have flown from different parts of Nigeria to be here today. I cannot thank you enough. It's a huge sacrifice on your part, and it speaks a lot about your love and sisterhood that we so enjoy in the Nigerian Governor's Wives Forum, especially since the class, I say, of our sets. So I am so proud and happy to have my sisters who were with me, who I was part of, who we now call former First Ladies, to think that they were still together and still support each other. I've actually got more of them coming than the current ones. So it speaks a lot about the strength of friendship and sisterhood that we share. I also want to thank and appreciate the new and young ones who are coming. There are about 7 First Ladies airborne coming from Owerri, where there's a woman, they're having a rally for their election. So they're actually on their way here, and they're going to join us hopefully before we finish. So thank you so much, my darling sisters, for coming. And the Speaker of the House of the House of Assembly, Edo State, who's here representing the Governor, I'm so thankful to you and your dear wife for coming. The CJ Rep, SSG, Attorney General is actually here. Former CJ, my dear brother. Let me just mention one by one. One of the, I actually have a board of trustees of the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament, and one of them is the owner of Lapo, the famous big microfinance company, Leap Above Poverty. Mr. Egumasa, who is here, came all the way from Lagos to attend this seminar and the football tournament. Every one of you, heads of agencies, heads of military and paramilitary agencies and organizations, lovely students and your teachers, principals, heads of schools, and members of the Edo State Cabinet, of course, and our chairman, PDP, and other party stalwarts. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you also very much. Good evening and thank you for coming. So this is our 3rd year. This is our 3rd year with this tournament, and we started out from the beginning to not just play football, but also to address very pertinent social vices that we suffer in our country, in our society, especially those that affect women and girls, because this is a women's football thing, and so it's the women and the girls that we focus on. So the issues and problems that we see that are prevalent in society that have the strong potential of stalling the growth, the development of young girls and women, we seek to address alongside playing the football and developing women football in our states, in our country, and indeed in Africa. We are always proud to say that after our first outing here, we got recognition from the World Football Federation, FIFA. They gave us an award, and for the initiative with the women's football thing, and also for women, is considered it a tool or a way of empowering women. So we're trying year after year to maintain that height of professionalism, and to make sure we do everything world-class standards, so that we keep getting FIFA recognition, and hopefully, by God's grace, already they say that this tournament is the foremost women's football championship in Africa. So we're very proud, and we thank God that He will and pray that God takes us higher and higher, and Nigeria becomes well known around the world for women football. So that's our aim and our goal, and we are doing well already. So we thank God, and we thank you all for your support. The issues around gender-based violence still look us in the face as much as they did from the day that we are awakened by this. We called it at the time a pandemic within the pandemic. So as governors' wives, we got together to fight it, and we're still fighting it, and we continue to fight it until we achieve close to zero tolerance or zero prevalence of zero existence of gender-based violence in our country. So this year, the theme is Stop Gender-Based Violence, and no one else in this country, I believe, carries this burden and carries the fight more keenly in their hearts than Nigerian governors' wives, former and current. And they're here with us to support us, and they will talk to us about, they will say a few words around that. And then we'd also have a panel of specialists, those who have worked and are still working in the space, in the GBV space, who would be discussing issues. What we want to do, like we did last year, was to bring our young children. University students are here. We have students from SSS, JS3 to SS 2 or 3. Because we want to expose them to, the issues of GBV. We know that a lot of this happens in the school communities, and children are scared and afraid to speak out. So we're here to talk to them and enlighten them about issues around GBV, tell them what the law says, let them know that there's a law that exists now in the country and in the state, and let them know several of the different pathways to, getting redress, and how, they can come out and talk about it, and where to go, and all of that, so that children don't continue to suffer in silence. And then the adults also know. And also, the word gets out to perpetrators and potential perpetrators about the consequences of engaging in this heinous crime. So this is to enlighten the public, especially our young people and our young girls, to strengthen them and make them bold and confident to join us in this fight, so that we, in a very short period, begin to see a serious reduction in the incidences of gender-based violence. So without saying much, I'd like to thank you all again, and crave your indulgence and ask you to please be a little bit patient with us. We will be quick to address what we came here to address. Thank you all so much.
Can we please give honor to Anna Azon, a woman that loves the people wholeheartedly, a mother indeed, motivated by a strong desire to utilize sports for positive social changes. Our Excellency initiated these tournaments in 2021. This tournament stands as the sole women's preseason football competition recognized by the world governing body FIFA in Nigeria. Its aim is to assist and uplift Nigerian girls. It's part of a broader plan to develop sports for young people, particularly girls, through the Center for Women and Youth Development, led also by Excellency. Can you please applaud her again? I have the singular honor at this point to invite, to give her goodwill message, Her Excellency Erelu P.C. Fayemi, the Chair of the Board of Trustees, Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum. Can you please warmly welcome her with music as she comes upstage? Let me also quickly welcome the Chairman of Nigerian Women Football League and the CEO of Delta Queens, Aja S. Alani, and her board members. Thank you for Thank you,
Your Excellency, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, First Lady of Edo State, the Betsy herself, as we call her, Your Excellencies, my dear sisters, serving First Ladies, former First Ladies, all top government functionaries of Edo State who are present, all our children who are present, I would like to abide with all the protocols and courtesies that have been duly extended. My name is Bisi Fayemi, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of the Nigeria Governors' Wives Forum. I bring you warm greetings from the current chair of the Nigeria Governors' Wives Forum, Ambassador Olufolake Abdulrazak. She is unable to join us, but she sends her warm regards. We would like to acknowledge all the efforts of our dear sister and colleague, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki. We know her to be a woman of incredible strength, courage, determination, conviction, and so it's no surprise that she has managed to pull off really important projects in this state to change the lives of people, particularly women and children. The issue of gender-based violence is extremely important to us as former and serving governors' wives. Many of you will recall in the year 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, we got together as mothers in our respective states to try and address this issue. And we set up a support group known as Nigerian Governors' Wives Against Gender-Based Violence. At that time, only 13 states in Nigeria had domesticated the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, because all the states of the Federation are supposed to domesticate it as a roadmap to ensure that each state can mitigate GBV effectively. So when we started our work around June 2020, only 13 states had domesticated the act. As governors' wives, we put pressure on our husbands to declare a state of emergency against gender-based violence in Nigeria. And this was done by the Nigeria Governors Forum on the 10th of June 2020. Between June 2020 and December 2022, 35 states in Nigeria had passed either the VAP law or they had equivalent legislation in their states to address gender-based violence. The only state in Nigeria as we speak that does not have a law to address GBV is Kano State. And we are hopeful that they will do the needful in the very near future. We would like to encourage Her Excellency Betsy Obaseki to continue this good work. Here are former First Ladies in our respective states. And even though we are no longer serving as First Ladies, we are still serving as mothers. We are still serving as grandmothers. We are still serving as citizens who have to continue to add value to the community. GBV is a fight for everyone. A fight for us in our families, in our schools, in our places of worship, in our places of work. So it is something that we pledge to you we will continue to dedicate our lives to. And to the 7 First Ladies, we are sure that this work continues to be in safe hands. So thank you very much for inviting us to Edo State. And for some of us, we've been here a number of times. It's always a delight to be here. Thank you for inviting us. And we look forward to having a full time with you all.
It's a celebration. Celebrate good times.
Can we please give them the honor they deserve? Applaud them, applaud them. Please be upstanding for them. Wives of Sentinels, wives, former colonels. Thank you for supporting your husband, and thank you for your love for our people.
We gon' celebrate and party with you.
Thank you, Your Excellencies. Thank you, very distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, the United Nations Women Representative has a goodwill message And it is going to be online, so we will expect you to watch the screen and hear the sound. And I'll also like to put on notice that my Lord, the Honorable Chief Judge of Edo State, through his representative, will be giving a goodwill message. The Honorable, the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Edo State, will also be giving a goodwill message. And then we'll go to the panel of discussants. I'd like to invite online now Ms. Beatrice Eyong, UN Women Rep.
Here. Your Excellencies, the Executive Governor and First Lady of Edo State, Your Excellencies, the First Ladies present, distinguished guests, members of the press, please permit me to stand on the already existing protocols. It is an honor to join you virtually at this auspicious occasion. I would have very much loved to have been with you physically, but I'm glad that through technology, I'm able to join you as we collectively take a strong stance against gender-based violence. I would like to commend the Edo State government and especially the Office of the First Lady for spearheading and institutionalizing the Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament, which has become an annual advocacy action. It is indeed this same leadership that accelerated the passage of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act and continues to drive efforts in the state to end GBV. UN Women recognizes and honors the excellent work of the Edo State government, which is in line with global calls to address GBV with action from the highest levels. In this, the year of women's football, with the Nigeria Super Falcons scaling through to the quarterfinals, our action today is timely. It further signifies that women do indeed belong wherever they dream and aspire to be, whether in the State Assembly or indeed on the football pitch. Today's event leverages on the power of football and the sporting world in general to influence and shape societal norms with a wider goal of promoting gender equality. At a global level, UN Women is proud of our ongoing partnership with FIFA towards this specific objective, underpinned by an MOU dated 2019. During the height of the pandemic, women and girls were also disproportionately affected by an unfair increased burden of care, and they continue to be so. One of the key outcomes of today's event is in the shifting of gender stereotypes, which in many cases fuels gender-based violence. At this point, I wish to also commend the players today who, by pursuing their talent and honoring their skills, are breaking some of the most prominent gender stereotypes and showing that a woman can and indeed should have a place anywhere within the society. It is important to note that for a more prosperous and equal society, we need men and boys as allies, both on the pitch and in the home, to actively disrupt harmful gender stereotypes by themselves, taking on roles that are not traditionally ascribed to men, speaking out against GBV and encouraging an end to the culture of impunity and stigma. To this end, I must also commend the efforts of the Nigeria Governors Forum, as well as the Nigeria Governors Wives Forum, whose efforts saw the declaration of a state of emergency on rape and GBV in 2020, leading to the accelerated passage of the VAP Act. Today, 35 states have passed the VAP together with stakeholders. Excellencies, you have spearheaded this. We need alliances to eliminate gender-based violence. Alliances between key institutions such as the Nigeria Governors Wives Forum and the efforts of international actors, civil society, and the private sector of the private sector in a situation where child marriage is at 43% and 33% of women and girls have experienced physical or sexual violence. We need all hands on deck. Synergies must be fostered with innovative interventions such as was done with the joint EU-UN Spotlight initiative to eliminate violence against women and girls. This program is driven by partnerships with the government, namely the Ministry of Women's Affairs and civil society through women's-led organizations and networks, including the African Women Leaders Network. Moreover, it's important to recognize the central role of the private sector as a partner in ending GBV, giving the opportunities for partnership in technology and telecommunications to better prevent and respond to GBV, and the responsibility of companies to safeguard employees from GBV within the workplace and home during the COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, I would like to highlight the message of investment and prevention in this year's 16 days. Moreover, it's important to recognize the central role of the private sector as a partner in ending GBV, giving the opportunities for partnership in technology and telecommunications to better prevent and respond to GBV, and the responsibility of companies to safeguard employees from GBV within the workplace and home during the COVID-19 pandemic. Lastly, I would like to highlight the message of investment and prevention in this year's 16 days of activism theme. Unite, invest to prevent violence against women and girls, which must not get lost. The 16 days of activism will continue on the 25th of November, International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and will end on the 10th of December, International Day of Human Rights. Our advocacy must look at bringing resources to the full implementation of the VAP. As we invest resources to support survivors through shelters and ensure robust data collection, we must also invest in ensuring access to justice in order to end the culture of impunity that sustains the pervasiveness of GBV in our society. The widespread domestication and effective implementation of key legal frameworks, including the VAP Act and the strengthening of gender-responsive justice and security sector that can ensure justice to all survivors of GBV, are necessary measures to end impunity and ensure prevention of GBV. Thank you for your kind attention.
First ladies and former first ladies are airborne. I'm happy to announce that one already has landed very safely. Can we please warmly make welcome to this event the former first lady of Abia State, Her Excellency Mrs. Nkechi Ikpeazu. Let the Lord be merciful for her. At this third edition of the tournament, the following are participating. I would like to warmly welcome. A lot of them are here together with the boards and their various proprietors. Edo Queens Football Club participating. Niger Rattles Football Club. Remo Stars Ladies Football Club. FC Robo Football Club. Fortress Ladies Football Club. Heartland Queens Football Club. Royal Queens Football Club. Nasarawa Amazons Football Club. Bayelsa Queens Football Club. Confluence Queen Football Club. Delta Queens Football Club. Ekiti Queens Football Club. And Honey Baggers Football Club. And I'm sure the best will win. May I at this point respectfully invite, for the goodwill message, my Lord, the Honorable the Chief Judge of Edo States, the Honorable Justice D.I. Okungbawa, Here represented by my Lord, the Honorable Justice Mary Isweli. Please warmly make her welcome.
Dr. Dollar Entertainment.
Kajo, 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 kayo, kayo, kajo. Uyo me yole uosa okumi. Uyo me ya, uyo me ya. Oh, uyo me yole uosa.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, distinguished First Ladies here present, ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the already existing protocols. I bring you warm wishes from the Honorable the Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice D.I. Okungbowa. He had originally planned to be here, but for very matters that suddenly came up, he has asked me to represent him, to send his good wishes and read his goodwill message. This is a goodwill message by Honorable Justice D.I. Okungbowa, the Chief Judge of Edo State, on the occasion of a seminar on stopping gender-based violence organized by Betsy Obaseki Women Football Tournament at Edo Hotel Maki, GRA, Benin City. There is one universal truth applicable to all countries, cultures, and communities. Violence against women is never excusable, never tolerable. That's a statement made by Joe Biden, the President of the United States of America. It is on the above note that I say that it gives me great pleasure to be here today. What better way to start my goodwill message than on a note of appreciation to Almighty God for the gift of life and for making today possible. I'm also full of gratitude to the organizers of this event, not just for putting this event together and inviting me to attend, but for all you have done and continue to do in the promotion of youth development, women empowerment, and rights promotion. On behalf of Edo State Judiciary, I warmly felicitate and congratulate you. As we have once again shown today, we are always ready to identify and partner with all well-meaning bodies, governmental or non-governmental, who share a common belief and determination to create a safer environment for women and children by completely eradicating all forms of gender-based violence in our dear state and country. As I have stated in previous other fora, I have over the years been especially fascinated by the efforts and passion gender-based violence in Edo State. You have indeed been our knight in shining armor in our battle for the enthronement, respect, and protection of the general rights of women, children, persons with disability, as well as the weak and vulnerable in our state. Due to the commitment and indefatigable efforts of Your Excellency, Edo State has justifiably taken its pride of place in the Committee of States where there is zero tolerance for gender-based violence. In this regard, I specifically recall the admirable efforts of Your Excellency in fighting to make sure that adequate legislation is put in place to fight this scourge in form of the passage and subsequent amendment of the extant Edo State Violence Against Persons Prohibition (VAP) law. Interestingly, when this law cried out for necessary amendment to make it effective, Your Excellency quickly stepped in to ensure its amendment and have since personally monitored its full implementation. In addition, Your Excellency has also consciously promoted awareness in this area and facilitated the provision of a state-of-the-art facility for survivors of gender-based violence in the state and a sexual assault referral center, SAC. Your Excellency, I congratulate you and your formidable team. The theme of today's seminar, which is Stop Gender-Based Violence, is very topical, well chosen, and could not have come at a better time. The scourge of gender-based violence is a global tragedy, deeply rooted in gender inequality and cultural vestiges. Simply put, it is any form of violence directed against any person because of their gender. Although both men and women are susceptible to it, the vast majority of victims are women and our girl children. Hence, more emphasis is understandably placed on them. The heinous fang of this form of crimes may manifest in many forms, which include physical, sexual, psychological violence, or neglect. According to former Secretary General of the United Nations, Kofi Annan, I quote, "Violence against women is perhaps the most shameful human rights violation, and it is perhaps the most pervasive. It knows no boundaries of geography, culture, or wealth. As long as we cannot claim to be making real progress towards equality, development, and peace," unquote. By way of quick stock taking, the point must be acknowledged that through the combined effects of the efforts of Your Excellency, which I just alluded to, legislation, awareness programs such as this, other concerted efforts of governmental and non-governmental organizations, and many other stakeholders, tremendous gains have been recorded in this area. But it will be foolhardy for us to rest on our oars, given that there are many more formidable hurdles to be crossed. On our part, Edo State Judiciary, being a major stakeholder in this project, is committed to remaining unrelenting in this fight. To this end, we have accorded the much desired seriousness to expeditious and effective adjudication of cases arising from the implementation of extant laws. In doing so, some courts have since been designated as family courts, as prescribed by law, to try all cases of this species, and we are prepared to do much more within the purview of the law. In conclusion, given the pedigree of the organizers of this seminar and chosen resource persons, as well as the quality of invited participants, I'm confident that this event will be enriching, very impactful, and will undoubtedly, at the end of the day, take our collective dream of a gender-based violence-free Edo State and Nigeria many notches higher. On this note, I wish us very robust session and deliberation. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, my Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Judge of Edo State, speaking through the Honorable Justice Mary Swilly. Thank you very much. Before I invite the Honorable, the Attorney General Commissioner for Justice to give his goodwill message, we'd like to commend and appreciate honorable members of the Edo State House of Assembly that has ensured that this saw the light of day and has become law in Edo, one of the very first within states in the Federation. The Deputy Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly and member of the organizing committee for this tournament, former FIDA Chairman, former Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the Right Honorable Maria Edeko Omozele. Thank you very much. We also appreciate the presence of the majority leader of the House and his dear wife, Honorable Agwoba Wegia Charity, and spouse. Please warmly make them welcome. We also acknowledge the Deputy House Leader and Chairman House Committee on Gender Issues and Social Development, Honorable Osawaru Natasha Irobosa. We also acknowledge and welcome Honorable Andrew Ozamire, Honorable Member, the wife of Honorable Ibamawu Jonathan Aigbekam. We welcome you. Honorable Mosigo Uyi Frank, we acknowledge your presence. Honorable Atu Osamoyi, we thank you for being here. And of course, the spouse of Honorable Osamoyi Casey and the spouse of Honorable Engineer Destiny in Nabulele. Please applaud them. Thank you very much for being here. May I invite Osaze Uzi Esquire, the Honorable, the Attorney General Commissioner for Justice, Edo State. The music can play at the background.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, Your Excellencies, First Ladies here present, my Speaker, Secretary to Government, my Lord Chief Judge, ably represented, I wish to observe the already established protocols to save your time. It is indeed a great honor, and I'd like to start by expressing my gratitude to the First Lady for this opportunity to stand before you, distinguished audience, today and to offer this short goodwill message on the occasion of this seminar with a theme which I personally, as well as professionally, am so passionate about. That's the issue of gender-based violence. As we all know, the issue of gender-based violence is a burning topic in our society today. On a daily basis, we get news of gender-based violence, violent incidents, and these constantly confront us. And the truth is that our women, as my Lord the Chief Judge said, our women and female children are overwhelmingly the victims and of such violence. They do bear the brunt of such violence. I have a passion, and my passion is born out from the fact that I come from a place, a family, where women take pride of place. Both lineages observe and recognize the important role that women play in all our lives as a family. We believe, we have a worldview that women should not suffer. Nobody should suffer by virtue of their creed, by virtue of their gender. When we talk of gender-based violence, as my Lord says, we not only refer to physical violence, but we also refer to verbal, to psychological and sexual violence, and even, if I may add, socio-economic violence. As the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Edo State, I would like to take this opportunity to express the Ministry's gratitude to Her Excellency, the Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, for your effort, not just as chair of the GBV committee, but for your support generally in the fight against gender-based violence in our society. I am proud to say that with Her Excellency's support, the Edo State Ministry of Justice has been able to diligently prosecute and secure more than 50 convictions since the 2021 reenactment of the VAP law in Edo State. More than 50 convictions, and we have more than 250 cases still pending, which we are pursuing vigorously. Thank you, Your Excellency. Some of the efforts made to address the issue of gender-based violence in our society, in our state, includes the creation of the sexual offenders register as enjoined by the relevant VAP laws, which serves as a deterrence to the society because it's based on the name and shame principle. We also have the Sexual Assault Referral Center, SAC Center, which my Lord referred to, a very well-equipped center, and there are plans afoot to replicate the center in all the central zones, and in the hope that in the nearest future it will go to all the 18 local government areas of the state. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we believe that it is more than coincidental that since the enactment of the VAP law in our state, there has been an increase in the number of reported cases of sexual offenses. The awareness created by the reenactment of the law and the dedicated efforts to implement same has encouraged many more victims to speak out against their oppressors rather than being afraid of them. Regrettably, some recalcitrant deviants do not seem to have gotten the message. The lives of young promising females are still being cut short or moved to different and not so beneficial trajectories. We all recall the case of Uwaila, that's the 21-year-old undergraduate student, a lady who was sexually assaulted and murdered in the church of all places, where a sanctuary of prayer and solitude now became her death chamber. While the violence, like Uwaila's case, was perpetrated by strangers, rather sadly, many of the perpetrators of such violence are much closer to home. So there are so many cases of husbands against wives, fathers defiling their daughters. This is a sickening thing which none of us should tolerate. There are too many that are close relations. The Ministry of Justice is presently prosecuting so many of such cases. For example, there's a gentleman who shot at the wife and her arm had to be amputated. That case is under prosecution like so many others, and we assure you that we will not relent in our prosecution of such cases. Just yesterday, I was privileged to receive in my office a young lady, a very young lady, who was assaulted, sexually assaulted. Pepper was put into her private parts, and she had to go through unimaginable pain, torture, and an ordeal. And the beasts who did this had the temerity to actually film her and started blackmailing her that we were going to share the video online if she did not settle them. Thankfully, the law enforcement agencies were very good at this. They apprehended these people and brought them to court. With determination and support, and against so many odds, the prosecution was successful. She was in my office yesterday, and sad to say, the good part is that she had justice. Well, justice was served at the end of the day. But the sad part is that there was no rape. There was sexual assault, but there was no rape. So the fine, there was a term of imprisonment. I think just a year was given to one of the perpetrators. And but the good thing about this judgment was that restitution of 2 million naira was awarded to this young lady. So as I speak, she probably should be in the ministry now collecting that restitution. It in no way compensates for the pain, for the suffer, for the torture, and the inhumanity meted to her. But at least that is a start, and that is courtesy of the kind of law we're operating and implementing. And I'm so glad, I'm sure there'll be many more of such things. We don't have to go through a civil case to now file a case and go to court on ending to have that kind of justice. This provision for restitution, it's a very, very wonderful, welcome development, and I hope that my Lord, the Chief Judge, and the judges, and thank you to people like the dedicated courts have been given to sexual-based violence, and Honorable Justice Mary Swaley is one of the judges in that court. Thank you very much, madam. This is supposed to be a goodwill message, but it all sounds all gloom and doom, and I apologize for that. But it's a very sober topic, a topical one, which I think we must give time and dedication to. I bring you good news that the sardonic and sadistic harbingers of such sexual violence will not go unpunished in this state. We will pursue and prosecute them with determination and vigor. But to succeed, we need the understanding and cooperation of all stakeholders. And I'm grateful to the CSOs, I'm grateful to faith-based organizations for the assistance, support, and the dissemination and the awareness they have been creating in this state. I thank them so much. It is our hope that with the caliber of participants here gathered this afternoon, this seminar will come up with ideas and suggestions that will further aid us in the fight against the menace. Together, we will slay this monster or render it harmless. This is what our people desire, this is what they deserve, and this is what we assure you will strive to give to them. Thank you very much for your attention, and God bless you all.
Thank you very much, the Honorable the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, for those very wonderful ones. I will next invite for a goodwill message the Honorable Commissioner for Education, Edo State, Honorable Dr. Joan Osa of Yahweh, and after which we'll go straight to the discussion. We already have, let me quickly welcome Honorable Member Edo State House of Assembly, Honorable Dr. Edosa Richard, and his dear wife, Dr. Mrs. Ife Edosa. The wife of the State PDP Chairman, Mrs. Ezekwemi, is also here with us. We welcome you back. You can see the constituency of the Commissioner is more here. So the children, can you applaud your Honorable Commissioner for Education?
Good afternoon, Your Excellency, the First Lady of Edo State, and all the visiting First Ladies and Excellencies from other states in Nigeria. I also want to acknowledge the presence of the Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, the Secretary to the Edo State Government, as well as the PDP State Party Chairman. Please permit me to stand on existing protocol. If I sound a bit breathless, it's because I've just been told I was to give a goodwill message. So I don't know what I'm going to say after the wonderful speech of our Attorney General. So, pardon me. Your Excellency, I just want to thank you so much on behalf of all of us in the Edo State education ecosystem. You have done so well in the area of gender-based violence, awareness raising, and this has made our students and our learners across all levels of education a lot more safer in our schools and in our communities. Our very first, since our first major child sexual defilement case in 2018, we've come a long way, Your Excellency. I think that particular case was a watershed moment, even for me, as a public servant. It was the case of a 9-year-old girl whose mother had perished on the way to being trafficked to Italy. And so she was living with a non-relative. And at 9-year-old, she was being sexually defiled by the husband of the woman and 2 of his sons. So that was a horrible, horrible case. And that little girl would have most likely fallen through the cracks of bureaucratic red tape. But when Her Excellency heard about it, and when His Excellency heard about it also, we were all given marching orders to make sure that something was done. At the time, even our SSG stepped in, and I'm happy to report to you, Your Excellency, that since that case, in all our almost 2,000 public school system in Edo State, we now have social safeguard officers supporting learners, whether it's physical abuse or sexual defilement. We have welfare officers that are taking note of issues of poverty and deprivation. I want to also tell you, Your Excellency, that just yesterday, I received a message on WhatsApp from one of the young girls that we supported about 3 years ago. Then she was in SS1 and was being and had been defiled by her own father, who had procured abortion for her 2 times. By the time her case was made known to us, she was even having mental health issues. But I was so happy to hear from her that she finished secondary school and got admission into Delta State University, Abraka. And then today, I mean, these are just coincidences, but they are also reflective of the impact of your work, ma. This morning in the office, I got a call that one of our students in SS2 had gotten pregnant. And the principal was requesting approval to send the child away from school. I said, no, we can't do that. And because of this case, and because of the work you have been doing, ma, in the Edo State Ministry of Education, as part of our education policy and our revised education law, going forward, no girl child who gets pregnant will be kicked out of school. We are going to make sure that they get the requisite support that they need to be able to complete school and do what they need to do to continue with life. So, in a nutshell, and on behalf of all of us, once again, Ma, thank you very much. Your work is making a difference. Even the aspect of female sports, we are very excited. We are excited about what the Edo Queens are doing. And we are going to be at the stadium tomorrow en masse to share on our Edo Queens. Thank you very much.
Can we put our hands together for her? Thank you very much. And I think if anybody has to be kicked out of school, it should be the boy or the man. Should we add that to the bill? Send it to the House of Assembly, they know what to do. Ladies and gentlemen, I already announced that the movie has been overtaken by event because we had to play that movie while we were waiting. And I'm sure the children learned a thing or two. And it was titled, We Will Not Be Silent. It was mind-blowing and it was indeed wonderful. I will next invite the moderators for the panel discussion now. The Deputy Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, the Right Honorable Mrs. Maria Omozale Edeko. Please applaud them as they come forward. Our co-moderator will be Special Advisor to His Excellency Mr. Governor on Media Projects, Crusoe Osagie. And the panelists include the Honorable Justice Mary Isweli, Dr. Elizabeth Iyamu Ojo, CSP Peter O. Ngumba, Dr. Gina Romosele, and Dr. Mrs. Obano. Your hands together for them, please.
The Speaker, Edo State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Blessing Sheriff Agbebaku, and your spouse, Your Excellencies, all protocols duly observed. My dear children, you are our major beneficiary for this program. So we want you to pay attention to what we are doing here. I will go straight to the question. This is for Dr. Elizabeth Yamo, one of the panelists. Dear Doctor, you are to give an overview of offenses contained in the VAP Law 2021 as amended and punishment thereof. So we want you to concentrate on the offenses that affect these young ones, the prevalent ones, and to tell us what the victim must do when violation occurs. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Mrs. Betsy Obaseki, Her Excellencies, First Ladies here present, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Time is fast spent. However, to our major audience, greatest Edo State students, greatest Edo State students, are you sleeping? This program is for you. Greatest Edo State students, you are welcome to this program. Now, like I've been told, I'll be focusing on those issues in the VAP law that are germane to you. The first section I'm going to be talking about is the Section 4 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. This law is the fulcrum of that piece of legislation. It defines what the offense of rape is. And it defines rape in a very unique way. If you look at that definition, it talks about it as not just penetration, but also about insertion. Insertion of a gamete, that is the male organ, or a finger or any object. Are you listening to me? Rape has been defined to mean penetrating another person without consent. You can penetrate the person by either the sexual organ with an object or any other part of the body. So if it's done with the fingers, it is rape. If you use an object that is not the finger or not the male penis, it is rape. However, there is another interesting thing about the definition of rape. It talks about he or she. And then it talks about insertion, which means that a woman is capable of rape. Now, I'm particularly happy on this because a lot of young boys in this venue today are introduced into sex while they are below the age of 18 by an older female. This falls within the context of rape. And if that has happened to you, and it happened without your... In fact, consent is not necessary in this context because you are below the age of 18. You have been raped. Are you with me? So when you find that this happens, it's a criminal offense, it's statutory, and it has no statute of limitation. Please go and lay the complaint. Do not keep silent, just like that movie that we watched earlier. Are you with me? Do not keep silent. A boy can be raped, a girl can be raped. The rape can be anal, as in it can be in the butthole. It can be in the mouth, that is oral rape. All these are contained in section 4 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. Interestingly, the penalty for it, where upon conviction, is life imprisonment. Are you with me? The sentence is not 2 years. It's not 5 years. It is life imprisonment. Now, if you look at section 4 of the VAP law, you will find that it talks about, okay, section 5 now, that talks about penalty. It said that where the person who commits the offense is 14 years or below, that the penalty is reduced. That means even as a young person, you can't be guilty of rape. So, those of you who want to experiment, you are below the age of 18, please avoid experimenting because it can make you liable to 12 years imprisonment. Another thing that is particularly common among secondary school students and the audience we see here is gang rape. You see this girl, she's so fine, and you say, let me toast her. You've toasted her, and she says no. You say, okay, she dey do shakaraba. The next thing is you want to talk to your friends, and they say, no worry, we will catch her for sharp corner. No sharp corner involved. If you are caught, you will go in for it. And the penalty is a minimum of 20 years in prison for each of the people who participated. Are you with me? Is that an offense you want to try? Thank you. So, if somebody does not even go ahead to complete the act, the person just attempts to complete the act, he tries to do it, he does not succeed. What happens? Does the law punish him too? Yes. The law punishes him with 12 years imprisonment for attempts. Now, these different penalties that I have mentioned, 20 years, life imprisonment, 12 years, it has no option or fine. So don't think my papa na senator, my papa na House of Assembly member, my papa na... Don't think anything like that. Money will not cover it. There is no option of fine. And then we'll go to the next section. Section 6 talks about a register of convicted offenders. Now, this thing I'm particularly bringing it to your notice because you see, once you commit a sexual offense and you are convicted for it, you go into the sexual offenders register. They now put you, your name is there, your picture is there, and this sexual offenders register is is made viewable by the public. So anybody can come. Tomorrow you might want to walk anywhere, and then they say, well, what's your name? You give them your name, and before they agree to give you a job, they go to the sex offenders register, and then they go and check it. And when they check it, they discover that his name is there. Oh. You think they will still employ you? Never. You want to rent my house. I have built a house and I want tenants to stay there, and I live in the same house with my children. You want to rent my house, I will ask your name, and when you tell me your name, I will go and check the sex offenders register. If you are a sex offender, I will not want my daughter to be anywhere close to you, or even my son for that matter, and so I will not let you rent my house. Do you want that? So you could go to Zamfara, for instance, for NYSC. You have committed the offense some years ago, and then your name is in the sex offenders register, and then you want to rent a house as a copper, and then they say check first, oh, and when they check Edo State sex offenders register, your name is highlighted there. Would you be happy? Hello, Edo State students, will you be happy? Thank you very much. Now, one other violence that is particularly common amongst you is the one provided for in section 8, which is inflicting physical injuries. A lot of the time you want to fight. Anything happens, you want to fight. You know that that person is not as strong as you. You want to show that you are Tarzan. When you inflict physical injuries on someone else, you will be, if you are found guilty upon conviction, the jail term is 5 years imprisonment, and if you are just caught or found guilty of attempting the offense, the jail term is 2 years and 6 months. No option of fine. Now, in section 9, we have willfully placing another person in fear of injury. Now, this fear of injury we are talking about could be either physical injury or psychological injury. As long as you believe in trading in fear, you want to show everybody that you are the bababos. You want to say you have odeshi, and because of that, if somebody talks to you in school, normal conversation, you go to the death road that the person passes home, and you go and block that person because you want to be she who must be feared, or he who must be feared, or he who must be obeyed. If you are caught and you are convicted, upon conviction, the jail term for this is 3 years in prison. Then in section 29 talks about stalking. How many of you know what stalking is? Hello, if you know what stalking is, raise your hand. Stalking is a situation where supposedly you like this person, no? You have talked to this person, and this person says, no, I don't want. Or you are afraid to talk to that person, but you start to follow this person. You follow the person on social media, you follow the person everywhere, to the extent that the person is afraid to move out of his house or do anything again, because the person knows that somebody is following me, somebody is checking up on me, somebody is following all my movement. The person is afraid. Stalking is an offense. You may not have talked to the person, you may not have met the person physically. If you are stalking that person, it means that you are on conviction, you are liable to 2 years imprisonment or a fine. And then we have intimidation. Intimidation, you know what it means. It's similar to all this talking. It's similar to inflicting of fear, because you want to make that person afraid for you. That person, if you are found guilty of that offense, it's also punishable with 1 year imprisonment or 200,000 naira fine. Now, there is another thing that is particularly rampant amongst students. You go on parties, right? How many of you have ever been to a student party? Raise your hand. Hey, raise your hand. If you have ever been to a party, raise your hand. You will not say it now. A rave. You know those parties where they go, yes, I can see your hands. Honest students there. Some of these other ones, they are lying, I know. You see those parties you attend, and then somebody comes and says they want to they start to mix drinks. Do you understand? When they are mixing drink, then they will now give it to you as supposed to be a soft drink. You use cups to share it, and they've mixed in tramadol inside. They mix in different things. Section 26 talks about administering stupefying substances. So whether you are mixing whether it's a drug per se, or you are mixing so many things, and it now causes stupefaction on the people, on the victim. They think they are drinking a soft drink, and then the next thing you see them, it's on social media sometimes, on some WhatsApp group. You see people take something and then they fall. They are peeing on themselves, pooing on themselves. They are doing all such things and they have no idea what they are doing. They are falling into gutters. That is an offense. It is provided for under Section 26 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act, and the penalty is 10 years imprisonment. Then we also have attack with harmful substances. Some of you have a quarrel with your classmates. You don't want to talk and discuss or stand in that death road and pour acid on that person. Is that nice? Does it happen? Does it really happen? Good. That offense is provided for under Section 25. It's called attack with harmful substances. It could be chemical substances. It could be a biological substance, a harmful liquid, whatever it is. It could even be hot water alone. Whatever it is. The sentence is what? Life imprisonment. Are you with me? Life imprisonment. If you attempt to do it, if you receive somebody that did it and hide that person, or you tell the person, not be you now they talk to since, deal with them. You incite someone else to go and do it. For inciting, you get 25 years in prison. Do you want to have that? Please, do not do such things. Attack people with harmful substances, liquid or otherwise. Do not administer drugs in people's drinks, whether a girl or a boy, because you want to have sex with that person without consent. Do not do all those things. If you do it, you will be making yourself liable to life imprisonment or 25 years imprisonment or even 10 years imprisonment, as the case may be. Another thing we have in the VAP law is indecent exposure. Well, indecent exposure cuts both ways. When you hear indecent exposure, most of you just think it's all those girls that wear skimpy skirts, open their breasts, and stuff like that. Is that all? You see, boys, you also expose yourself indecently. You wear boxers without nothing else under, and as you are going, that thing is dangling up and down. It's dangling. On the street, you are crossing from compound to compound. The next street, you won't even wear singlets. It is an offense. It's indecent exposure. And so, whether male or female, for the offense of indecent exposure, what do you get? Community service. You can be told to come and clean Ring Road. You will clean all those dirt there, all those smelly things. You will made to clean it. And then they will video record you and put you. You will made to clean it. And then they will video record you and put you on social media doing community service. Would you like that? Please, let's dress decently. Then we also have embarrassing or humiliating acts. Now, some persons here, some of you, you think it's a joke. Well, something is happening with your colleague or your classmate or your friend or your enemy, your frenemy. And then you say, okay, you are going to record it. The person is maybe nude or something. You record it and you put it on social media to embarrass your friend. And you say it's a prank. This is not a prank, ladies and gentlemen. It's not a prank. It is an offense and is provided for under Section 31 of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law. And the penalty for such an offense is 3 years imprisonment or a fine of 500,000 naira. The Honorable Attorney General talked about this just now when he talked about the Pepper case and how they put her video on social media. Okay, I'm done. So the Pepper case was one of those cases that was put on social media, and like we just heard, the young lady has been compensated, although it does not cover for the humiliation she felt. However, we are saying you too can be made to face a penalty if you are not careful. And then I want to go back to the definition of rape. You see, in rape, there is the issue of consent. Sometimes one way to know that a person did not grant consent is if you administered stupefying drugs to that person so that the person is incapable of giving consent. So once this is done, either you are a victim or you are a perpetrator, know that the law can be out for you. Apart from the law being out for you, if you have ever been a victim, take note of two things. Your voice is a tool. Make sure, do not keep quiet. Scream as much as you can. Are you there? Scream as much as you can, because if you scream, it's possible that the person can get scared and run away. But if the person does not get scared and run away, you see your fingers. It is your God-given weapon. Scratch as much as possible. Scratch so much that you have the skin beneath your fingers. And like we watched in that movie, when you are done, or when it's happened, God forbid, do not have your bath. Go straight to the police or go to the sexual assault referral center or the GBV center. You see that skin under your finger? It can be used to positively identify the person that committed that offense. And so you will be able to get justice. Are we not all for justice? Justice for all Edo students. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Elizabeth Iyamojo, PhD. She is a lecturer in the Faculty of Law, University of Benin. And I'm a very proud woman. She was my student. Thank you. Thank you. Now, straight to Mr. Peter Ogumba, the OC Legal. He's a senior, very senior police officer. And you heard that Dr. Elizabeth said, when you are a victim of rape or gender-based violence, you must report immediately. You don't need to have your bath. You have not done something shameful. It's the violator that should be ashamed. So you go straight to the police station or to our gender-based violence center. Mr. Ogumbo, sir, what is the role of the police in the investigation of gender-based violence crime in general and rape specifically? Thank you.
Good evening, Your Excellency. Permit me to stand on the established protocol. I am a police officer, and one of the duties of police officers of police is to arrest offenders. Gender-based violence is a crime. Before the advent of VAT law, rape and other sexual offenses were criminalized in the criminal code, and we have been enforcing those laws. The problem we have in an investigation of gender-based violence is the courage to complain, the courage to report. Most parents even aid to compound offenses of gender-based violence by going to make arrangement with the perpetrator for compensation. Even when such cases have been reported to the police, you see them coming, lobbying. I want to withdraw. They have paid me 200,000. They said they will pay me 200,000. They want to give me land. We usually refuse. So, in summary, the role of the police in investigation of gender-based violence generally is to receive the complaint. And when such complaints are received, we document it and then go after the perpetrator. The good thing about investigation of gender-based violence is that most of the perpetrators are known and very close to the victim. Either uncle, either father, neighbor, teacher, classmate, and the rest of them. So when we are able to identify the offender, we get that person arrested. Then we commence investigation. Investigation simply means to gather evidence, either that this thing happened or it did not happen. So we visit the scene, try to recover specimens from the scene, torn pants, torn bra, torn trouser, and other items that are linked with that offense that we can use to prove that that offense was committed before the court. Now, when we do that, we record statements from the victim and witnesses. Usually, there are witnesses. Most of them will say, I have been seeing this girl enter this room every time. I see this girl enter this room every time. Now, I saw her coming out of this place, and she's bleeding. So, those are evidences of witnesses we can use to support that of the victim. Usually, most cases of defilement and rape, the minors are the victims, and they always have the duty of speaking the truth. When a child of 7 years points consistently to somebody, you did this to me, you did this to me, you did this to me, in the presence of millions of persons, we will believe that girl. Then we would normally send such to the medical facilities for medical examination. Then the report will come, either positive or negative. Usually, most of the times, when the allegations are true, it will come out positive. We use that doctor's report to support the oral evidence and the exhibits we recovered from the scene to press for prosecution of the offender. And I want to boldly speak, we don't compromise on cases of gender-based violence. No bail. If we arrest you, we take you to court. We don't compromise, we don't release on bail, we don't withdraw. This is to send a message to the perpetrators that the time has gone when they can escape or do this and get free. Most of them, because of their status, because of their political connections, they would like to come and influence, to give money, to bribe money. We said, no, we must charge you to court. And we make sure we recover enough evidence to make sure that prosecution is successful and convictions obtained. We have been recording a lot of successes at the police level when we prosecute at the magistrate court. We have several convictions. But the VAP law has said rape and defilement goes to the High Court. So what we do, we gather evidence, compare the case file, medical report, all the evidences required to successfully prosecute that matter. We make sure we assemble them, take the matter to court, and forward the case file to DPP for legal advice and prosecution. Believe me, sir, all our cases of rape have come out positive. All advice from DPP has a case to answer, and they are facing the justice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Officer Peter Ogumba. The next question is going to go to Dr. Gina Eromoseli. This is going to be to bring the medical practitioner's perspective to this issue. What's the duty of the medical practitioner to a victim, particularly when rape has happened to a victim? And what kind of healthcare do you provide? What do you do to ensure evidence is preserved? Then the B part of this question is, what services victim of gender-based violence at the GBV Center, which is also called Vivian Center in Benin? Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Your Excellencies, standing on existing protocol. Medical services from the point of a medical practitioner. When the rape victim, like she has said, finally gets to us, which is the Vivian Center, Edo State Sexual Assault and Gender-Based Violence Center, from head to toe of the patient. Then after that, you do your investigations. We screen for sexually transmitted diseases. We make sure that because this rape has happened, we don't want our victim to have HIV from it, hepatitis, several other diseases, or even pregnancy resulting from rape. And we can also check some of your...
Quickly make a distinction between the terms victims and survivors of domestic violence or sexual assault. At the time or point of the violence, be it domestic violence, rape, or defilement, the recipients are referred to as victims. However, when they survive the incidents and are able to come to us at the Vivian Center to narrate their stories, we now refer to them as survivors. So, as a counseling psychologist, our main duty is to provide psychosocial support anchored on empathetic, friendly, and committed relationships that allows the survivors to feel safe and appreciated with a sense of belonging that allows them to interact and tell us their stories very, very freely. So our psychosocial support that we provide to survivors, number one, we make them to understand what they have experienced. We also make them to overcome the guilt, the low self-esteem, the fear, anxiety, depression, and all the traumatic experiences resulting from the incidents. We also allow them to express their anger. We make them to realize that they are not responsible for the violent incidents. Just like we have heard, it is the perpetrators that should be brought to book. It is the perpetrators that should suffer for the shame, and not our survivors. Also, we provide access and support networks and services like my center manager has enumerated: legal prosecution of offenders through appropriate referral pathways. So, when you are a survivor of rape or domestic violence as a girl, a boy, a man, or a woman, feel free to come to us at the Vivian Center, because there you get friendly counseling sessions where we prepare you to cope with the stressful and traumatic situations, and also we try and help you to benefit, you know, physically, mentally, psychologically, and emotional well-being. Survivors also at the Vivian Center, from the counseling psychologist, benefit from therapies aimed at restoring their lost sense of identity, their lost dignity, positive self-esteem, self-worth, and belongingness. We also provide very supportive environment that promotes recovery and relief for the survivors. We do follow-up services through phone calls and also volunteer, unscheduled visits to our survivors, because at the point of entry, we get their phone numbers, their addresses, and also we get their personal details. So depending on the severity of the case, we can do unscheduled visits to find out how you are coping and how you have been relieved from the traumatic experiences. So for us as students, my message to you is that you don't keep quiet. Vivian Center is there for you, and all the services that you get at our center, like the center manager has said, is free of charge. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bano. All the persons that have spoken, the panelists, they provide services to our community, victims of gender-based violence. So students, parents, stakeholders, know that this is a very serious issue, and these remedies are available for us in our community. Thank you, Your Excellency. Justice Mary Swelly, my Lord, to secure a conviction in a case of rape, what must the prosecution prove? What are the challenges to a successful prosecution of a rape case? Thank you.
Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, again, I would like to stand on the already established protocol. To establish the offense of rape and secure a conviction, the prosecutor has to do certain things. He has to establish the elements of rape, and I will list them. In court, the prosecution has to prove that the offender had sexual intercourse with the victim. One of the facilitators had talked about the VAP law. The VAP law states that when the offender, okay, before I proceed, I would like to explain all of this, particularly because of the young students, using words like offender and victim. The offender is the man, for example, who rapes, and then the victim is the one who has suffered the rape. So the VAP law states that the offender, when the offender penetrates the vagina or anus or mouth of the victim with his sexual organ, with any part of his or her body, it could be the finger, it could be the toe, or with any object, he is said to have raped the victim. So the prosecution has to establish all of this in evidence in the manner, he has to establish the manner in which the offender committed the offense. Secondly, the prosecution has a binding duty to establish by evidence that the sexual intercourse was done without the victim's consent. Consent is very important. It is immaterial. He has to establish that it was done without the victim's consent, or that the consent was obtained by fraud, by deceit, by threat, by force, or by impersonation. Where the victim is a child, the prosecution has to state that the victim is a child below the age of 18. Regardless of whether it was with consent or not, because a child below 18 has not reached the age of consent. So a diligent prosecution has to establish that this victim is a child and the child is below the age of 18. So even if it was the child who went and actually consented to it, under the VAP law, it is still regarded as rape, because that child under the age of 18 has not attained the age of consent. Depending on the facts of the particular case, it should be established that the victim is incapable of giving consent, particularly in a state where there is diminished mental capacity. Sometimes we found that some of the victims are young persons or children who have, mental issues. So the prosecutor has a duty to establish that the victim was incapable of giving consent because of the diminished mental capacity. And then where the offender administered any substance or addictive substance capable of taking away the will of the victim, it should be so established by evidence. One of the speakers also talked about when you go for parties, they will give you something to drink. You have to be very careful because sometimes those things they give to you to drink, you can be intoxicated and then there's diminished mental capacity. You do not know what you are doing, or because you've been given something to drink, you were incapable of giving consent. The issue of consent is very important because it is the only thing that differentiates a regular sexual intercourse from rape. In Nigeria, a husband cannot be liable for raping his wife. So a prosecutor has to also establish in evidence that he must lead evidence to show that the victim is not the wife of the offender. And then that the offender had the intention of having sexual intercourse with the victim without consent is one of the things the prosecutor must establish, or that he acted recklessly, during the act, not caring whether the victim consented to it or not. Most importantly, evidence must be led to show that there was penetration. Rape is complete once there's penetration, however slight. Having established all the above ingredients by evidence, sometimes it is still difficult to secure a conviction against the offender. This is particularly so where there is evidence which has not been corroborated. Generally, a person can be convicted of any offense upon the evidence on oath of a single adult witness. So if it's an adult giving evidence, if his evidence is cogent enough, an offender can be convicted. However, the law is that an offender cannot be convicted upon the unsworn testimony or uncorroborated evidence of a child below the age of 14. A child under 14 cannot give evidence under oath. A child under 14 is only competent to testify if he or she understands the nature of an oath and understands the importance of telling the truth. That's the only condition you will be able to take the evidence of a child under 14, not under oath, but the child having the court to be satisfied that the child can tell the truth. That's the only condition where you can take the evidence of a child. Let me elaborate and explain corroboration. Corroboration means confirmation or verification of existing evidence coming from another independent witness. So if it is the evidence of a child, an unsworn child, and there's no corroboration, in spite of the fact that you have established all the elements of the offense of rape, we still will not be able to secure conviction. So the courts in many of their decisions have stated that it's not safe to convict an offender on the unsworn evidence of a child except it's corroborated by some other material evidence in support of such testimony implicating the offender. This poses a huge challenge for prosecutors and the court where the victim is a child. So prosecutors must understand and ensure that the unsworn evidence of a child must be corroborated to be able to successfully secure a conviction against an offender. I would like to go to the challenges to successful prosecution of a rape case. There are several challenges in prosecuting and securing a conviction in rape cases. One, the procedure involved in the establishment of rape is sometimes cumbersome. For example, the need for corroborative evidence makes it difficult for victims to prove the crime. Rape usually occurs in private, in secret, and in the absence of any witness or third party. Majority of rape cases involve children and young persons. I think about 50% or more of the cases in my court are, of the rape HGBV cases are of children and minors. So most times the only evidence implicating the offender is the evidence of the child. So where the victim is not caught in the act and not subject to medical examination, sometimes you find that this investigation is rushed. Sometimes there is no medical evidence or investigation. Those cases sometimes, allow the offenders go off the hook. So the child's unsworn evidence on the part of the prosecution will be insufficient to prove rape. The resultant effect is that restrictive standard of corroboration imposed on the testimony of a child permits rape offenders to go unpunished. So there is a need for the courts and legislation to look into the issue of corroboration in rape cases. A second challenge is the delay in prosecution of cases. Delay comes from different quarters. It is common knowledge that the dockets of courts are full. Speaking for myself personally, I have over 400 cases in my court. In dealing with SGBV cases, my court is one of the 2 courts designated for SGBV cases. In dealing with SGBV cases and other criminal matters, long adjournments are inevitable because you have to do your SGBV cases and do other armed robbery, kidnapping cases. So where there is no special court dedicated to try SGBV cases only, it will definitely affect speedy trial. The prosecutors have a major problem getting their witnesses to court. It is common knowledge that most of these rape cases usually happen within a certain structure of society. So some of the victims have financial challenges traveling from their villages or wherever they are to the city center where you have the court to prosecute their matters. Particularly when they have to travel from outside the city center, you find out they say, they have financial challenges. If they came to court today and for one reason or the other the matter did not go on, you have difficulty getting them to come to court the next day. This accounts for some of the delays, and the victims and their families eventually lose steam after a long period of time, and they lose interest in prosecuting the matters. Having special courts dedicated to SGBV cases only, like we have in Lagos State, we encourage speedy prosecution of the offenders and protection of the victims who are mostly minors. Trial in such designated courts will operate within the confines of the rule of law. Poor investigation is also a challenge. The quality and evidence available for the prosecution will determine whether a conviction will be sustained. It is important that evidence relevant for each case is readily available, recorded, and properly preserved. For example, the physical evidence, visible injury. The investigating body, principally the police, must ensure that due diligence is arrived at in the investigation of SGBV cases. The point needs to be made that lapses in investigation almost always throw the case out of the window even before the conclusion of trial, even almost before the conclusion of trial and judgment. Due to the nature of the offense, the traumatized victim needs support to be able to put their thoughts in order when making their statements. Insufficient medical evidence. In the case of rape, the issue of medical examination and report is very paramount. Where the prosecution seeks to establish penetration, which is a vital ingredient in the offense, a medical report is most necessary. Victims must report at the hospital as quickly as possible. In addition to physical examination, there should be forensic examination. Traces of DNA, of the hair, semen, nails, can be used as corroborative evidence. Examination of the offender where he can be found can help. Sadly, we don't see this happening. So medical reports must be detailed to help in establishing the crime. Perhaps the greatest challenge in prosecuting these cases is due to the refusal of the victims to testify in court. Most of the parents of the victims, particularly where they are minors, outrightly refuse to come to court to testify. And I think it's for religious and social, cultural reasons. The settlement of rape cases out of court is now a very common practice. The families prefer to collect money from the offenders rather than see them go to jail or punished for their offenses. As a rule of practice in my court, I do not accept affidavits that they want to settle. I don't allow that because it's a heinous crime against the state, and it has become very prevalent in society. The result in not getting all of this is that the impunity of the perpetrators re-victimization of the victims, and the reproduction of the circle of violence. I'm hoping that parents can be tried under the VAP law, I think in section 12, for frustrating prosecution and investigation of such cases. I thank you all for listening.
Thank you, my Lord Justice. We are supposed to take questions from the audience, but you know the beneficiaries, they are our children. They should be home at this time, so we have permitted them to leave. So somebody just asked one question. We will round up. Take note that what has happened here today is to acquaint you with what constitutes the offense of gender-based violence. When it happens, what do you do? Who do you go to? These are very serious issues because you are growing up in a very difficult environment where there is lots of drug abuse and a lot of things are happening. We are very grateful to the students that have stayed to this time. So Elizabeth may want to just respond to that quickly in 1 minute and we'll round up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. The question says, is there punishment to a person who lied to have been raped but was not actually raped in the VAP law? Section 13 of the VAP law says, it's titled willfully making false statements. And it says a person who willfully makes a false statement, whether orally or documentary, under this law or with the aim of initiating investigation or criminal proceedings under this law against another person, commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of 1 year imprisonment or to a fine not exceeding 200,000 naira or both. So if a person lies that she was raped when she was not actually raped, she can be prosecuted, and then if she is found guilty or upon conviction, she can be sentenced to 1 year imprisonment. Another alternative is that you can also sue the person for malicious prosecution. And when you sue the person for malicious prosecution, you can demand for any damage, any amount of damage that you want, and the court in its wisdom would award compensation or damage. Thank you.
So we have two of our lovely children. Mr. Crusoe.
Good day, Your Excellency, distinguished First Ladies, ladies and gentlemen. I am by name Oyibola Gosa Angel, a bona fide student of Semoya Goiti Girls Grammar School. This is my question. Please, I don't really understand the part where the last speaker said that the husbands cannot rape the wife. Please, ma'am, thank you.
Good day, everyone. Good day, distinguished First Ladies, all due protocol due to observe. I'm a student of Emotan College, SS2 student. My question is, someone who is indecently dressed, does he or she deserve to be raped?
What's the question?
Good day, everyone. My name is Berry Charles, a bona fide student of Oredo Girls Senior Secondary School. And my question is, what if a child is being assaulted by the father and the matter is swept under the rug because they feel it's an abomination?
Good day, Your Excellencies. Standing on the already existing protocols, I am Amos Osaive Divine, a student of Idia College, and I want to actually know a definite amount of, like, how many bodies are there that helps to fight against sexual assault among people. Thank you.
Good day, Your Excellency. Good day, everybody. Standing on the existing protocol, my name is Ezra Idemudia. I'm a student of Idian College. Actually, I have a question. And the question is, imagine someone to rape somebody. And me, self-defend, I want to defend myself. And I hit the person wrongly and the person died. Will I be persecuted? Thank you.
Okay, good day, Your Excellencies. My name is Emmanuel Fever from India College, an SS1 student. I have a question. I've heard of so many cases whereby people are blasphemed for rape cases. In some cases whereby those persons do not have evidence to defend themselves, what would the person do? Thank you.
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Sign on is the protocol. My name is Abukar Amokushe. I'm from Ida College. I have a question to ask. For instance, the offender is mentally deranged or has mental issues. What punishment is given to a person? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Before they start answering the questions one after the other, someone has also asked here for the address of the Vivian Center. I think that's very important. The Vivian Center, where they cater for victims. We want you to elaborate. How can you get there? Where is it located? Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm more excited now. It means our children, they were listening to us. We didn't waste our time today. Indecent, when you dress decently, no one should rape you, even when you are dressed indecently. So that is not a reason to rape anybody. So it's a violation, but you must dress decently, okay? Now, raping a child, sweeping it under the carpet, and saying it's an abomination when a father, rapes the child, that is a heinous crime. If your parents want to sweep such issue under the carpet, come to Edo State government, come to the office of Her Excellency, come to the Gender-Based Violence Center, go to the Ministry of Social Development and Gender Issue. Even when you come to the House of Assembly, we will deal with that man. And if convicted, we go to jail, life imprisonment. How many bodies fight gender-based violence? There are many bodies. You can see here the lawyers, you see the police, you see medical doctors, you see psychologists, you see judges, you have NGOs, you have international body. The Governors' Wives, the Nigerian Governors' Wives Forum, they did a lot. They declared zero tolerance to rape and defilement. And today we have achieved a lot because their weight, they threw it behind this fight. The VAP law has been domesticated in 35 states. Most of the sexual assault centers built. These personnel you have, this seminar we are having today, if not for the First Lady, it wouldn't happen. So when somebody is raped, when you suffer from gender-based violence, there is no need to be silent. We will not be silent. Report the case and we will deal with that person. Self-defense. I would want the police officer to talk about self-defense. It's a legitimate right. When somebody wants to harm you, you have the right to defend yourself. But in cases of self-defense, they will not look at, the measure, what is your response. It's like somebody trying to use wood to hit you. You carry gun and you shoot the person. But in case of rape, I would like the police officer, a very senior police officer, to comment also on that. Thank you.
My comment is very simple. Offense of murder is committed when you intentionally kill somebody, probably out of malice. But when somebody is being raped and out of self-defense, you hit somebody defending yourself, that person eventually dies, I think you can be charged for manslaughter and not murder. But when the case goes on, the court will now know how to apportion punishment. But Whether it's an offense, yes, you'll be arrested. You must be interrogated. But the police cannot say, probably, as it was a self-defense, we allow you to go. We charge you to court. It is the court that will decide punishment. We don't punish. We don't punish people. It is court that awards punishment. So this case may be answered. This case may be answered better by the judiciary.
Now, the child asks, where no evidence, what will a victim do? We want a situation where you will have evidence. That is why we are saying, when there is a gender-based violence, don't go and have your bath. Go to the police and report. Get medical report. But even where there is no evidence, you need the help of the psychologist to deal with the issue of trauma. My Lord Justice Isweli will also make a comment on self-defense. Thank you.
Okay, the offense of murder is a very serious one, and like every other offense, it has to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. If the victim can establish that, the offender was murdered in the course of self-defense, I think that defense, will be available, and the person cannot be liable for murder in that case. The second issue that was asked was about why can't a husband rape his wife? Spousal abuse is not recognized by Nigerian laws. At the moment, a man cannot be liable for raping his wife until the laws are changed. A man rape is actually non-consensual sexual intercourse. So the laws do not recognize a man raping his own wife, except the person is not his wife. So since the laws do not provide for it, there is no action in court for spousal rape in Nigeria at the moment until the laws are changed.
Now, talking about how to locate us at the Vivian Center, the address is number 1, Coronation Avenue, just beside the AD International Hospital. If you are coming from GRA, it is behind Benin Motel Plaza. And our phone numbers are 070-460-55026. I take it again, 070-460-55026. Another number is 080-544-61139. Thank you.
Okay, I want to talk briefly on the issue of spousal rape. Just like the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law talks about spousal battery, and it's rape is a form of spousal battery, as in. Now, under distinction, I want to make that under the criminal code, there was a particular distinction within the criminal code that, when defining rape, stated that where the woman is the person who committed the offense, so-called, is the husband of the woman, it will not be rape. There was an express provision to that effect, saying when that person who commits the act is the husband, this is not rape. However, noticeably, in the VAP law definition of rape, that distinction was quietly removed. Are you listening? The essence of that is that since it was expressly excluded, then it means that a man cannot be guilty of raping his wife. However, we do not have judicial pronouncement on that yet. We are waiting for the first woman that will come and prosecute the husband for rape, so that we can see what the judges will have to say in terms of enforcement.
Thank you, beautiful panelists. So thank you very much, Elizabeth Yamojo, thank you. OC Legal, thank you, Dr. Gina. Yeah. Oh, the chairman. Thank you, sister. This is getting very interesting.
Yeah. Your Excellencies, First Ladies and former First Ladies here present, the Honorable Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I think all of us have learned something from today's seminar, and I thank Her Excellency for making this possible. But I have one suggestion and a question. The first is this issue, we are looking at, in my opinion, we are looking at it one-sidedly. I strongly believe that for any man to rape a woman, or for anybody stronger than the other person to use force, I would suggest we pay attention to the psychology of that person. I suspect that if we spend some money during this in school to tell our boys that this thing is not good, this thing is wrong, you are stronger than that person, don't use force on that person, I think we will be reducing the numbers of rape. I'm sure the psychologists will help us in that regard. Secondly, ma'am, today is 31st of October. This workshop is being organized. We've learned a lot. What's going to happen between now and next year when we have the Betsy Obaseki football tournament? That 1 year space, what do we do? What are we engaging these young boys and girls within this 1 year? Or is year in, year out, we just do this seminar and we go home? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together? Chair. Can we applaud the panelists? You just step down and take a group photograph together downstairs so the cameraman can capture you better. Can we please applaud them again? That's a very wonderful job they've done. I'd like to quickly welcome the Honorable Madam Blackie Ogiame and the market women in Edo. Adai Kweki. Thank you also, Special Advisor to Mr. Governor on Strategy, Sarah Esangbedo Ajose Adiogo. Thank you for being here. Madam Lagos is in the house. Can we celebrate her? We'll invite Her Excellency to join this picture. It's courtesy of you that these panelists are assembled. Quickly, please. And after this, we're going to the remark by Mr. Governor. And at this point, the speaking speaker, okay, question the chair of the BOT to please join in these pictures. Pictures don't lie. Mr. Speaker and Madam. Dr. Godwin Gamosa. Other first ladies. Okay, they said that's fine. Thank you very much. You may please resume your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been a long day, and it's been a very fruitful one. And these children learned so much in the video. We will not be silent. May I now respectfully invite Mr. Speaker Okay, just hold on, sir. I want Madam to be seated when you speak. So we'll have a musical interlude. I'm sure other of her sisters have just arrived. We should go on. Okay, Mr. Speaker will now make his remarks. Can we please rise to make him welcome to the podium? Thank you. And the applause be resounding. Thank you so very much.
Beautiful Edo, glorious Edo, Edo, the heartbeat of the nation. Edo, the land that everybody dreams to be. Your Excellencies, I welcome you all to Edo State. I don't have much to say, but let me dwell on the address of the Attorney General. That explains it all. I'm just standing here to thank Her Excellency for what she has been doing for the girl child in Edo State. Not only the girl child, but in its entirety, the good things she has been doing for Edo State. It is not easy to bring 13 football clubs to Edo State. 13 football clubs to Edo State. They have been here for the past 1 week. They've been in the hotel. That cost money. And I know that money is not wasted. It's for the development of the girl child. Thank you, Your Excellency. I watched you closely when the opening ceremony of the football tournament began at the stadium. I think you have a great passion for sports and football. When they were playing, I saw your movements. When they play like this, you do like this. At the time they wanted to score, you did like this, hey, for almost 3 minutes. So it shows that you have passion for football. I want to thank you for our Edo anthem. At times, I sit down to say, this woman just sat down, put up words, brought them together, and it brought out this item. That shows that you are highly cerebral. Very, very highly cerebral. You have shown your intelligence by putting up this wonderful anthem. And I don't think there is any state that can surpass this anthem you've given to us. You are a great woman indeed. We love you so much. Thank you very much for all you've done for us. Thank you. We love you as Edo mother. God bless you.
The organizing committee, Cerebral Yusuf Ali, for the vote of thanks. For the vote of thanks.
She has done so much for this team. Last year, the team played in the final, and she said to me, Chairman, can you make Edo Queen a par as the main team? You also will agree with me that Edo team are the only team in this country that gets the same salary as the men's team, courtesy of the state government. Your Excellency, I must thank you so much for what you are doing, and hopefully this event will outlive you. It's just the 3rd year, and you've been recognized by FIFA, the world governing body. This is the biggest tournament pre-season for any football team in Africa. Your Excellency, you've done well. On that note, may I say good night and goodbye for everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Can we put our hands together for the World Olympian? With that, we come to the end of this seminar. Shall we please rise for the national anthem only? We'll have a group photograph with Your Excellencies alone. The music. Please remain where you are and allow the Excellencies to